Hey everyone, Mah-Dry-Bread here. Pokemon Black with only one Deerling was a really surprising solo run. Let's follow that up with what might be my hardest Fallout run yet. Today's the day that we figure out would I be able to beat Fallout 4 with no perks. This is exactly what it sounds like. We can't get any perks at all. Perks are the vast majority of what you'll be spending your perk points on every time you level up. They give you all the abilities that you earn throughout the game. Without that, the only way to get stronger as a character is to get better equipment, get magazines and bobbleheads for bonuses, and of course, special points. In Fallout 4, you can spend perk points on special stats, and they come with some bonuses as well. Will the total lack of perks be made up for with the extra special stats? Somehow I doubt it. Like always, I'm writing this script as I go through with the challenge, so all this part is being written before I've started. Everyone comment down below and guess if I can win or not. I'm honestly really unsure about this one. I bet the scaling is going to be really rough, and not being able to take perks that let us deal more damage means our gear has to be amazing. We can't heavily mod our gear though, since we can't get any of the perks for it. Maybe I just need to get rich enough to buy amazing gear to win? Let's explain the rules. I can't learn any perks. The perk points are only used for special stats. Lastly, only cosmetic mods are allowed, but I'm not allowed to use any mods that affect gameplay. Also, if you enjoyed this video, then be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let's do this. So let's start with the character creation. One thing I noticed right away is that none of the stats increase ranged damage, but strength increases melee damage. The wiki says that each point of strength increases melee damage by 10%, so I'm thinking I should start with 9 strength and 9 endurance. Great melee damage, great health on level up. Plus, high endurance is important since we can't get the Life Giver perk. That leaves us with 1 perception, 1 charisma, 5 intelligence, 2 agility, and 1 luck. Yeah, it's crazy lopsided, but we're gonna be getting so many special points from level ups that I don't think it really matters. In fact, my first 2 levels are probably gonna be going into buffing intelligence for more experience points over the course of the challenge. Anyway, the vault was super easy, as you'd expect. Radaroach is hardly hurt, and everyone's level 1 in here anyway. Naturally, the first thing I do is always the first thing, build up Sanctuary a little bit. There's good loot here after all. I don't really bother hunting around for every last veggie this time though. We're never learning the weapon mod crafting perks, so we can only make very basic weapon and armor mods anyway. We're just not going to need that much adhesive. We just have to hope that we can find loot with good mods on it. I do want to make sure that the base is at least producing water though, since you can sell that en masse and it's pretty easy. While I'm here, I used the special book to boost our intelligence up to 6, that way we get just a little bit more experience the entire run. I love that our strength and endurance are 9, but our agility, charisma, and perception are almost non-existent. What would this even look like? Like a non-verbal lumbering caveman with terrible eyesight? I guess it makes sense that we're probably gonna be a melee build. So the first thing I did after leaving town was go to the nearby gas station to pick up dog meat. I don't think I'll be using them the whole run, since it's kind of fun having a new ally each time, but I'll gladly use them for at least the first chunk of the run. Plus, this is on our way to Concord, so I may as well. I want to save the Minutemen at Concord this run so I can get the power armor. I'm not really sure if I'm going to use it for any of the main story or not, but I may as well just have it early just in case. I'll try not to use it unless I have to, though. Once I got to Concord, I started shooting down the raiders just fine and picked up their leather armor. I ended up getting brass knuckles during this, our first melee weapon. I've actually never used this before, so let's go give it a try in the museum. Oh man, okay, this is fun to use. Most of the raiders get one shot on head punches. We must really have the strength of a caveman because their heads are popping left and right. Naturally, I grabbed the perception bobblehead in here because why wouldn't you? And then I went to the roof to get the power armor and the minigun. I can't wear the brass knuckles in the power armor, so I went ahead and punched with the suit's fists. It sounded super weighty and nice to throw punches with, but it actually did a lot less damage than the brass knuckles, somehow. I tried punching the death claw when it showed up, but that was going to take forever. The minigun was obviously the way to go. It took it down right away. I'm going to go drop off this power armor back at our base, and then I'll start traveling south. So the first stop is Lexington, where I just punched my way downtown to try and get experience. It's mostly just like ghouls and stuff, but just by wandering around, I ended up finding a big sewage tunnel that led straight into the assembly plant that looms over the town. It's funny, I was kind of trying to avoid this place since it's the only place that I really remember from Lexington, but I somehow wound up back here anyway. You know, I wanted to call it a factory, but I decided to double check the footage and it's an assembly plant. I'm pretty sure that an assembly plant is also a factory, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know what they assemble. I'm no expert. To the best of my knowledge, the difference between a factory and an assembly plant is 2 engineer specialist slots. Honestly, fun dungeon, if it feels right to call it a dungeon. I really like it. It's just that I've done this area a few times back when the game was new, because, you know, settlers in settlements always ask you to clear this place. It's a big raider base in a decapitated assembly plant. Well, I most definitely meant to write dilapidated. It makes for an interesting place to have a bunch of shootouts, and we even die a few times. Overall, it's not hard if you take it nice and slow. It's worth doing, too. Decent loot, and most importantly for me, a ton of ammo. Once I was finished with the place, I went outside and had a seemingly never-ending long-range shootout with a bunch of raiders from multiple high locations. We hit them pretty reliably, our pipe guns just hardly do any damage. Good thing we got all that ammo though. I didn't really remember what the big loot at the top of the plant was, so I spent a few minutes fighting my way all the way up there just to find the repair bobblehead to make fusion cores last 10% longer. I mean, like, it's super cool if you're using power armor, but I'm not, so this doesn't help us at all. Let's just travel more. Next, I headed south to the police station to help Danse with the ghoul shootout. You know, the Brotherhood of Steel quest that I ended up not being able to continue in the previous challenge because the game glitched out. I ended up uninstalling the unofficial Fallout 4 patch since I've seen a lot of you guys in the comments saying that sometimes it causes its own weird glitches, so I just got rid of it to rule it out. I've had tons of glitches both with and without it, but I think I had the most that previous run, so we're gonna roll without it for now. Anyway, the shootout was easy, so we loot the police station and then accept his quest to go run off and do his mission. Just like last time, Danse really does all the work for us. We have to fight at least a little bit, but man, our weapons suck. We come out of this place with loads of fusion cells for energy weapons though, so at least there's that. I think I'd rather just have a high damage melee weapon though. That's what I think we're probably best with, at least right now. Like last time, ending the quest gives us this laser rifle with extra crit damage, but our luck is 1, so we're hardly ever gonna build up crits. I doubt I'm gonna use it very much. What I probably will use, believe it or not, was this focused Institute rifle that they dropped. I never really bothered using one before, and you can see why. It pretty much cuts off any ability to see the right side of your screen. It's pretty good though. It shoots incredibly fast, and they drop tons of ammo, so I could deal some real damage with it. It's really accurate too, like even from long range. I bet this would be great in the Park Street station. Maybe high armor targets I use a melee weapon and low armor targets I use this laser rifle? Anyway, we're in the city ruins now. I gotta say, this rifle is impressive. Yeah, it melts raiders pretty quickly as expected, but I can actually take on super mutants with this. I still have to be careful of course, but there's no way I could fight these guys with my old pipe rifle and pistol. Maybe I should just fight my way to Park Street Station now while I still have lots of ammo. Although, I guess if I run low, I could go clear out Hallucinogen again. That got us tons of fusion cells in the previous challenge. I ended up wandering through town for a little while, just looting and fighting for experience and gear. I ended up stumbling across the lady in front of the hardware town again. Nah, we're not going in there this time. We're going in, the apartment labeled apartments. This place wasn't too interesting, but on the roof I had a fun shootout with a bunch of super mutants. This gun is honestly really nice. We're blowing through ammo fast, but we're taking down enemies that we wouldn't normally stand a chance against without it. Maybe it'd be worth modding my bolt-action rifle? Yeah, we only have the most basic mods, but ours is a short rifle, and I'm pretty sure that giving it a normal barrel doesn't require any points in gun nut. Back to exploring. This is one of my favorite parts of these Fallout runs, just kind of exploring, looting, and setting up to do main quests later. I ended up trying to get a bunch of places on my map that I knew we'd come back to later, like Park Street Station, the old church, stuff like that. I also found this cool ruined skyscraper full of super mutants that you can get by taking an elevator to a ruined highway. By this point, we're running kind of low on ammo for energy weapons, so I'm mostly just using this awesome armor-piercing automatic pipe rifle that I found. It hardly does any damage with individual shots, but is accurate, does a ton of damage when firing at full speed, and I'm drowning in ammo for it from all the raiders I've been fighting. Plus, it's got a 48 bullet magazine, so I don't really need to reload too often. It's primitive, but we're beating super mutants, so it'll do. Maybe I should save some ammo for this. It could be great in the close quarter fights for Fort Hagen later. You know what? What happens if I go to Fort Hagen right now? Okay, so this is pretty weird. When I got to Fort Hagen, there weren't any turrets on the roof. I kind of expected that the door would be locked, but it wasn't, so I actually go in. There were synths in all of the regular spots that we had to clear out, but no ceiling turret in the room with the elevator, and the elevator is boarded up, so we can't get to the second half of the fort. I have so many questions. Why is it boarded up right now, but the synths are still here? Why hasn't Kellogg put the turrets up yet? Does that imply he hasn't moved in here yet? Are the synths here to protect Kellogg? Or is this some kind of Institute outpost that Kellogg fled to when he thought that we were following him? If he fled here, then why not have the synths reboard up after he goes down the elevator? I mean, it stopped us this time. It should stop us that time too. I have so many questions. I guess we have to do the Park Street station first to make progress. But what if I went to the scientist cave at the end of the glow early? What happens then? So the trip is easy as usual. We have Rad-X and Radaway, so there's nothing to worry about. Some enemies follow us for a bit, but they never reach us, so I don't think we take any damage. It's a good thing I've done this trip so many times that I just remember where the cave is. While I'm traveling through an irradiated wasteland, now's a great time to tell you about this video's sponsor, Chimera. They sell lots of quality clothes, but today I'm here to preach about the virtues of a nice plain t-shirt. Now, Chimera actually sells all kinds of shirts, both long sleeve and short sleeve, with and without collars, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep it simple and stick to just non-graphic tees for this video. There are two main types. The essential short sleeve t-shirt that comes in 13 different colors is first. All these shirts are 100% ring spun cotton, so they're going to be super soft, durable, and breathe well. You can also get a signature version of this if you'd like. It's got the Chimera logo on the front there. They also sell heavyweight t-shirts as well. It's also ring spun cotton, but they use an extra thick cloth to make sure that it's never see-through to use as a base layer. You can also get a version of this with a pocket in the front, in case you're big on the I carry my pencils on my chest look. So if you want to support the channel and look good while doing it, then hit up the link in the description to go to Chimera and pick up something warm to wear this winter. If you're going to go pick something up, then make sure to use the promo code Mah-Dry-Bread at checkout to get 10% off your order and to let them know that I sent you. Now let's go find Vincent. Alright, so once I got to his cave, nobody was here, other than some robots. Well, at least I can fast travel here for later, so that's kinda cool. Let's go finally do Park Street Station. For the first chunk of the place, I used our Institute rifle, and it was doing an awesome job of taking down these unarmored targets. Problem is, we only really have so much ammo. Eventually, I started picking up all of their submachine guns and actually using them. I don't think I've used these before, but they were pretty fun. It's blown through ammo really fast though, so I don't know how efficient this is. Still, it gets us tons of easy progress. The final shootout with Skinny doesn't go as easily as in the Vets Only run, and we actually have to hide behind cover and heal a bit. I wouldn't really call the shootout hard, but thanks to having no perks, our damage is falling behind a bit, and no medic perk means really slow healing. With that done, we just have to do some cutscenes with Nick Valentine and fetch the key to Kellogg's house from the mayor. We just passed a speech check for it easily this time, since I've been putting all my level ups on charisma since I can't do perks. Yeah, I could put it in something more useful like agility, but charisma's kind of fun. So things get weird when I get back to Fort Hagen. Check this out. This is what happens when I come back here after leaving Kellogg's house with the cigars, but before showing the cigars to Dogmeat. Still no turret, and the enemies I killed last time haven't respawned, and it's still boarded up. So I go back to Diamond City, I have Dogmeat smell the cigar, I teleport straight to Fort Hagen, and the turrets are here. Once we get inside, I ended up having to fight tons of synths. Not all of them respawned, but some of them did. There are turrets inside the place now too, and the elevator isn't boarded up. This is honestly so confusing in so many ways. Gameplay-wise, I understand why we couldn't go down there before this moment, but why is Dogmeat sniffing the cigar the moment that you can go down here? Are you telling me that Kellogg hadn't gone down that elevator until I showed my dog a cigar? So we're at Fort Hagen, and then we go to show the cigar to the dog, and that's when he must show up at Fort Hagen, right? So are you telling me that the moment I left Fort Hagen to go back to Diamond City, he built a ton of turrets, and then he got a bunch of new synths, I guess, teleported in before I got back? Because I just went straight to Dogmeat and straight back. Not even a day has passed, and he's got all these turrets all of a sudden. This is hilarious. Anyway, the rest of the fort really wasn't bad. I took Nick Valentine with me this time as my companion. He's really useful because he's pretty tanky and he can hack terminals for us. That's great considering we don't have perk points, and thus I can only hack novice terminals. I even got to try out this cool unique bat that I bought back in Diamond City. It's a bat with nails that uses up less action points and VATs. It's not really the best ability for me, but it's still pretty fun and it hits hard. In case you're wondering how I've been spending my levels, by the way, our endurance and charisma are now both 9. Other than that, it's the same as when we were level 1. We actually haven't improved it fighting in any way this entire run. I've just gotten experience bonuses, discount prices in stores, and better chances of my social interactions working out. Something I've done like twice this run? I think the only difference in combat between us right now and us at level 1 is we probably have a lot more health, just from leveling up while having a lot of endurance. Time for Kellogg. Right away, I just started shooting while he was talking to take down his synths. Honestly, super easy fight. He was hard last time since we could only use VATs and he was invisible for so long. But now that I can just shoot at him normally, I just blitz him down with our Institute rifle. He doesn't really take much damage per hit, but we can shoot really fast with this thing. As soon as we get to the surface, we see the Pridwin. I've never been so happy to see this cutscene in my life. Apparently, this cutscene is required to be able to go to the Brotherhood of Steel and do their route through the game, and that's my plan since we couldn't last time. Because this cutscene didn't happen. Because the game glitched. Because of course the game glitched, it's Fallout 4. Anyway, next is a bunch of running around. You know this part. Talk to Piper, go to the memory den, live through some memories, run through the glowing sea, all that stuff. I've already got the glowing sea part done at least, but there's still a bunch of walking and no real fighting until I have to go to Green Tech to fight the Courser. I'll just fast forward to that. Oh yeah, so I don't know how many of you guys watch the Pokemon challenges, but I started a segment over there called MDB AMA, where I take some questions that you guys ask in the comments, and then I answer them on the show. I haven't done one of these on a Bethesda challenge yet, so I guess this will be the first one. If you have a burning question that you just need to have answered on the show, then leave it in the comment section below, and include MDB AMA, all one word. That way, I can easily search it in my YouTube studio page, so I won't miss it. I'll answer your questions in about a month when I do the next Bethesda run. Thanks. Next up is Green Tech Genetics, where we have to fight a bunch of gunners until we meet the Courser that we're after. I did most of this place with an Institute rifle and submachine gun. We were dealing decent damage, but we got to a point where it felt like individual bullets just weren't strong enough anymore. We've got to use a lot more rapid fire weapons if we want to take things down quickly. I've noticed by this point that not having the medic perk is a real issue. Our stim packs are only ever going to heal us a little bit, so we need a lot more of them. Because of that, I'm forced to play a lot more carefully than I normally would, knowing that I can't quickly heal. Believe it or not, Medic is the perk I miss the most. Oh, and at some point while in here, I realized that Nick Valentine isn't following us anymore. I have no idea why. He just kind of vanished after the memory den. In the Courser fight, I handle things differently this time. With no companion to distract him, I mostly tried to stay mobile, running around the stairs in the main room to break line of sight, and then spamming shots with the Institute rifle whenever I could. We took tons of damage, and this took a while, but we could use VATs a little bit once the Stealth Boys wore off to get a few more hits in. It took almost 200 shots, but eventually he went down and we got the chip that we needed. Alright, so the next step is to team up with a faction to build the teleporter. We joined the Brotherhood earlier, so before we can get progress, we have to go up to the big airship the Brotherhood have in the area.
Of course I am. I've never seen anything so impressive.
I don't know where you're going, but if you want to remain a part of the Brotherhood, I'd get back here.
I don't know where you're going, Danse. What is it with this room and people just walking away from me while I'm talking to them? So we fly up to the Pridwin, this huge blimp? Airship? I guess blimps are airships, aren't they? Man, we're flying so low. I don't know much about airships, but wouldn't this be like deafening for the people in the airport below? So the first thing we do is watch a speech from Elder Maxon, the leader of this chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel. People in this game always talk about how young he is, but honestly, I can't tell just by looking at him. He gives a speech about needing to destroy the Institute and synths to a tiny room of 7 recruits, counting yourself of course, and a bunch of booze. No chairs, but end tables with hard liquor is a crazy choice. Anyway, the dude sounds kind of ridiculous in his speech, but once we're talking to him directly, he's a little more reasonable. He tells us that he read Danse's recommendations and that we're being promoted to a knight, and tells us that we're getting suited up with power armor. I cracked a joke that I thought would get me decapitated, but he just kind of rolled with it. I couldn't imagine getting away with that in the military, but I guess you just can't be so strict with recruitment when it's post-apocalypse. So next we have to meet with the crew. There's Bookman, who will pay me for scrolls or something, the doctor, who asks if we've been sleeping with animals, Lady, who looks pretty much exactly like Kate but doesn't have legs, and a really shady weapons merchant, who has side work for me that he won't fully explain. I go back to Maxon, and he lets us know that he'll help us build the teleporter to get into the Institute, but that we have to do more preparations first. So basically, I haven't done enough Brotherhood of Steel specific quests yet. That's fine, we can do that now. First, he has us fly around in a vertibird above Strong Island while we take down all the super mutants outside with a minigun. I've never really been that big a fan of turret sequences in games, but this one's at least kind of fun. I'm sure things will be harder once we get inside. The whole outside was pretty easy. I can feel my voice getting a little bit scratchy. I was just sick for a week. I had to put off this voiceover for a week, and now my voice is getting scratchy. I don't like this. I think I'm only halfway through the voiceover. The armory was a bit harder, but honestly, not that bad. The super mutants here are all pretty weak in close quarters to our automatic weapons, and Danse makes a great companion for this part of the game. The only part that took us a little while was the last room of the base, where they have both a missile launcher and a legendary mutant. But we were never really in any danger of actually dying. They wasted all their rockets on Danse rather than us, and he's in power armor, so he was okay. Once the place was cleared out, we went back to Maxon. He let us know it's time to build the teleporter, so I went out to the Boston airport to make it. Now, I had to take a few trips back and forth between Sanctuary and here because the airport didn't have all the supplies, but it took like 10 minutes. Our goal is to get in there, get in contact with Dr. Madison from Fallout 3, convince her to rejoin the Brotherhood of Steel, and get out. Let's do this. All right, we're in the Institute. It's time to go meet Father. Now I know 99% of you have no idea what's going on right now, but the other 1% of you are in hysterics, so it was worth it. No, seriously, I'm not reloading a save. I actually fired a mini nuke at Father, and we're getting out of here ASAP. I'd go find Madison, but the door to the rest of the base is never unlocked since, you know, Father's dead. Actually, now that I think about it, isn't the whole base supposed to go on high alert when you kill Father? I should be seeing red dots all over the place, but I'm just not. On my way back to the teleporter, there's a bunch of synths that are supposed to spawn to fight you on my way out, but they just kinda talk to me and say I'm good, then let me leave. I fired a nuke in the Institute and they haven't found out yet? So I leave and I talk to Maxon. He's pissed, saying that the Institute are on high alert. Hey, a second ago they didn't even know anything was going on. How did you know that they're on high alert? Did you hear the nuke or something? Anyway, he just tells us to do more Brotherhood quests. We have to prep to actually destroy the Institute, rather than just obliterating Father. I guess they didn't want you to dismember Father in the game, but did you notice that when I nuked him, he just kind of fell over? That's not how anyone else in the game reacts to getting nuked. First, they have me go convince a scientist to help us with Liberty Prime, a giant death robot the Brotherhood have. She's at some old bowling alley run by pre-war Mr. Handies, studying their behavior like animals in the wild, and I love that. Fantastic area. Anyway, nothing much happened here. I just sprinted to her, so I didn't really get shot by the Mr. Handies when I didn't pay my way in. Then I talked to her, and then passed a speech check, and now she's at the airport. First, I need to help them build some actuators, so that just requires the right junk. We had all of it but a magnet, but you can just buy that in Diamond City, so it was really quick. Next quest is to collect nukes for the Brotherhood, so it's gonna be ammo for Liberty Prime, the giant death robot I was talking about. This quest took forever to start though, because some raiders spawned nearby and the quest giver got distracted for ages. That is such a Fallout 4 issue. Anyway, they ended up getting us to go into some kind of old nuke storage facility in the glowing sea. Maybe it's a nuke disposal site. Most of the enemies in here are just ghouls, so honestly, pretty easy, just a lot of confusing travel. Once I get to the end of the place, it turns out that a member of the Church of Adam runs the place. They're a crazy cult that's obsessed with radiation and nukes. He's here protecting the nukes, but when I tell him that we want to use them, he lets us right in. He thinks that the word of Adam is spread if we use the nukes, so he's perfectly happy with that. High charisma's paying off. I think I would have had to do something for this guy normally, or probably shoot him dead. Well, would you look at that? Liberty Prime is armed and ready to fight. He thinks he's fighting communists, but I mean, it works, so I'm not gonna complain. Still, good to see that the work we're putting in is actually doing something. Because Lord knows the qualified engineers of the Brotherhood aren't going to build this thing on his own. No, they need to send us out to get all the stuff for them. I get that I'm the main character and I gotta do something, but you have armies of dudes with power armor, and this is how you delegate things? Anyway, back to Maxon, and he has huge news for us. It turns out that Danse is a synth. He says that Danse has run away, and we have to go hunt him down and kill him. We talked with some of the Brotherhood about it, and they've got mixed feelings. Some of them are perfectly fine with killing him since he's a robot and they see him as an infiltrator. Others have issues with it because he's still Danse and he's saved a lot of lives here. Scribe Hagen lets us know where she thinks he is, so I go there. We quickly find him and ask him to explain himself. He says that he didn't know he was a synth until the info was decoded saying that he was, so he basically found out at the same time as everybody else. He thinks it's best if he just dies here. Now, I actually had to reload here because I wanted to convince him that he didn't need to die, but even with 9 out of 10 charisma, I failed to argue that he's a synth who's good for humanity. I had to reload and instead said that I wouldn't kill him because I'd be losing a friend, and that convinces him that his death would affect the people that care about him. He gives me his dog tags so I can say that he died, and then go to leave. As we leave though, Maxon's already here. Maxon is obviously furious and wants to shoot Danse dead on the spot, and Danse is honestly perfectly fine with it and says to let it happen, but again, I talk them out of it. This time I use the argument that regardless of what Danse is, it's not debatable that he's saved lives of countless Brotherhood soldiers. Now it's time to pay him back by saving his life. Maxon doesn't really seem to agree, and he's still furious, but he lets it go. He proclaims that as far as he's concerned, Danse is dead. The Danse is an enemy of the Brotherhood and that he'll be shot on sight in the future, but for now, they'll act like he's dead. Danse thanks us for saving his life and decides that he'll live here in the bunker from now on. Now, I could get him back as a companion at this point, but we'd be kicked out of the Brotherhood for that, so we'll just let him retire in peace. We have a railroad to destroy. Oh, and I didn't record footage of the cutscene, but literally right after this, we talked to Maxon. We talked to Maxon and he promotes us to a Paladin to fill the rank of Danse. Even though he's fully aware that we planned to lie to him about killing Danse, and he still thinks we're Paladin material. That is hilarious. So, the invasion of the railroad headquarters. It's funny, if you work for the Institute, then you can just walk in here and slaughter them in like 2 seconds. But if you're with the Brotherhood, then they're ready for you. You have to fight your way through the entire church and the underground just to get in. Although, you've got some Brotherhood dudes backing you up, and most of the enemies here really aren't that tough. In the last room, you have to take on all the main railroad characters. Most of them are made of paper, but Glory is pretty tough with her minigun. She's kind of the boss of this place. In the end, the strategy that worked best for me was taking our unique nail bat that I bought back in Diamond City and going crazy in VATS. We got super high strength and agility at this point, so we hit hard, we can queue up a ton of attacks, and this bat's got that ability that makes it cheaper to use in VATS, so we can really wail on her. Since we take almost no damage while in VATS, it means I could just stand there absorbing her minigun bullets while wailing on her until she goes down. It turned an otherwise rough fight into a pretty easy one. Maybe I should use this bat more often in runs, it's kind of impressive. Time for the second from last major quest, the massed fusion building. You guys probably remember how hard this was for my first Fallout 4 challenge. There's 3 major areas: the roof, the inside of the building, and the nuclear reactor. The roof wasn't so bad this time. Last time it was hard since we were fighting the Brotherhood of Steel with a pipe pistol. This time we're being escorted by the Brotherhood and we're fighting the Institute, so it was pretty easy. The elevator part was pretty easy too, mostly just a chance for us to get more ammo. The real threat is in the reactor. Okay, so there's 2 waves of bosses here. First is the Sentry Bot. This thing could slaughter us in open combat, so we have to hide away in the side rooms to pop out and take shots with our Institute weapons whenever we get a chance. It's honestly not too hard, you just have to hide a lot. He's pretty wide, so you can easily hit bits of him that poke around corners without him seeing you. Then second is the 2 Assaultrons that really messed us up last time. They were the hardest fight in the whole building last time I was here. This time though, I came prepared. The moment the door opened to let them in, I fired a Fat Man nuke at them and one-shot them both. Not this time. We fought our way out through the lobby after that. What a clean finish to the mass fusion quest. With the mass fusion building done, we're ready to wake up Liberty Prime and go do the last mission of the game. Let's take one last look at our stats. Still no perks, obviously, just a ton of stat points. We've gotten most of our stats up to 9, other than the luck and perception that are still lagging behind. Our damage output is really starting to fall behind, but at least we have a crazy amount of health and AP. Make your final guesses on if we can win this or not. Let's do this. So the first step of the last quest for the Brotherhood of Steel is to escort Liberty Prime through the streets of Boston. Now, if you've played Fallout 3, this is exactly like that. And I really do mean exactly. Even down to the detail that we absolutely don't need to be here for this. Liberty Prime does not need our help, and can handle everything on its own very easily. But it won't walk unless we're nearby, so we're forced to follow it. Eventually, it reaches its destination, then fires a beam at the ground to drill a hole so that we can get into the Institute. Once we get inside, it's basically the same as in any of the previous challenges that we've had to take down the Institute. We fight through the robotics and biolabs, although this time we didn't fight any gorillas, and we have much better backup, so we're in no danger at all. The funny part was that when we got told to go override the Lock and Father's room like we did last time, the only reason for this is so that you can go talk to Father again, but you know, he's dead. Hilariously enough, though, not only did they not move his body from where I blew him up, they put clothes back on him, gave him a new pistol, and put ammo in his pocket. I looted all of that when I first killed him. Why did they give that back to him? But they didn't bury him. Anyway, that gets us to the nuclear reactor, where we once again have a really easy time because they only have 1 rocket, and like usual, they use it on a wall. We shoot them all down, go to leave. Synth Sean wants to come with us. I say no. We go topside and blow up the base. You know what? That wasn't at all what I expected. To be perfectly honest, that felt like I was playing the game normally. I literally didn't take a single perk, and it pretty much felt the same, just with less time spent modding weapons. Yeah, I was definitely dealing less damage with my guns near the end, but switching to like high DPS, rapid fire guns kinda solved it for me. It was kind of fun having such high base attributes, but no doubt I could have won easier with perks. I'm just lucky that I was able to find decent enough equipment to win with. I hope you guys like that run. For next Saturday's challenge, next Saturday is April Fool's Day, right? You know, I got a lot of ideas bouncing around, and I'm not totally sure what I'm gonna do for that yet, so I'm gonna leave next week's challenge as a mystery. I've got some fun things planned though. Maybe it'll be a highly requested challenge, or maybe I'll do something weird. I've got some planning to do. As always, I'm looking forward to your suggestions in the comments in the challenge request section of my Discord channel and on Twitter. Subscribe, ring the bell, stay tuned. Outro time. Oh man. Okay, so I was worried my voice was gonna give out during the voiceover, but it hasn't yet. It's just gotten a little bit scratchy, and I don't even know if you're gonna be able to hear it sounding a little scratchy. I'll see how it sounds when I take it back into editing. Oh no, it is totally starting to get a little scratchy, isn't it? I should probably stop talking. I've been wanting to do this voiceover for like a week, but I got sick. I only get like a cold kind of thing like once every year or so, but when I get one, I'm useless. You know how I always sound like kind of nasally? And if you watch like my old videos, like years and years ago, like I'm talking like 13 years ago, and then you watch ones from me now, you'll notice that like I got nasalier as time went on. I've got like just genetically really bad sinuses. They're very narrow, they plug easily. And so it's entirely common for me to just not be able to breathe through my nose properly on some days. Well, when I get like a cold where I'm stuffy and stuff, man, it gets so much worse. When I get the littlest cold, I can't breathe through my nose at all. It'll mean that I have to like sleep sitting up because it's so brutal just trying to breathe and not choke. So yeah, that's why I couldn't do any voiceovers for a while there, and why work is getting all bunched up. I wanted to do like another regular Pokemon challenge on, what is it going to be, the 8th of April? The one like the week after the April Fool's one. But I'm starting to think I won't even have time to get that run done right now because everything got so bunched up because I got sick. So I'm thinking there's going to be no April 8th challenge, and I'll have to just pick it up a week after that. God, we'll see. Yeah, you can stay up to date on my Twitter, though. I'll keep you up to date on that, and you get videos early there and all that stuff. How many people do you think don't know that you can go to my Twitter and watch all of these challenges early? Like, the moment I finish editing these challenges and I get them up and on the channel, I'll put them as unlisted and put a viewing link on like, Twitter. So you can just watch it early on my Twitter. Or sometimes I'll put it in the playlist section early too, so you can watch it before it's premiered in the playlist section, just on occasion. It's like a little treat for people who stumble across it. And it's improved the quality of the show a lot since I started doing that, because now if I upload like a challenge for early viewing and it has an obvious editing mistake that I missed, then people will tell me, and there's still time for me to go back and re-edit it and put out a cleaner version. And that's actually, that's improved the quality of the show. There's been a lot of typos that you guys never saw because someone caught it in the early viewing and gave me a chance to go get it fixed up. So that's awesome. That's improved the show. But then you have to wonder how many people don't even know that I do these outros where I ad-lib a bunch because I didn't do it for like the first 150 challenges that I did or something. And so people are used to just skipping this bit. I don't know. Gonna need a flowchart for that one. I should probably go rest my voice though, and then get editing. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.